Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
And welcome. Today we are doing a deep dive into something that I think is a huge channel for modern companies. Knowledge Management 2.0.
Right? Or, how you actually build an organizational memory that works. One that doesn't just sit there and collect dust.
Exactly.
It sounds a little dense, I know, but
Yeah.
pain point is so universal. I mean, I have definitely lost hours, maybe even days, just trying to find that one document, that one key decision.
We all have. Or you find that one brilliant solution that exists only in one person's head. And if they're on vacation,
You're stuck. So this deep dive is really about that. How do we take all this scattered input? The official documents, sure, but also the chat messages, the quick video notes, the meeting minutes, and turn it into a real, usable asset for everyone.
and this has become so much more urgent now with remote work. It's just critical. When you don't have a physical office, you lose those hallway chats, the quick conversations where you'd solve a problem in like 2 minutes. Remote work makes the cost of lost context just skyrocket. So if you aren't intentional about your shared memory, your whole organization just slows down.
So our mission today is to cut through all the noise, all the vendor hype, and really get to the practical moves. We want to show you how to shift your team from just, passively reading stuff to actively building a system that makes everyone smarter. Okay, so to really get what KM 2.0 is, I think we have to start with what it isn't. We have to look at its predecessor, KOM 1.0.
The static intranet era, I think that's the perfect way to put it. It was basically a giant digital filing cabinet that was curated from the top down.
Right, and Davenport's classic definition was a good start. It was about capturing, distributing, and using what people know, but the execution.
The execution had some serious limits. The content was always stuck in these rigid silos, usually owned by one department. And the biggest problem was that updates were always lagging behind what was actually happening day to day.
It was designed for storage, not speed.
Precisely. Storage and control, not flow and collaboration.
And then Web 2.0 happened.
Yeah.
And that changed everything.
That was the leap, yeah. Suddenly you have blogs, wikis, videos easy to upload. You have social feeds. The tools of creation were suddenly in everyone's hands.
It basically gave every single user permission to be a contributor, not just a consumer.
And what's so powerful is that consumer platforms, think about Wikipedia, they proved this concept at a massive scale. People will create and improve content if the tools are easy, if you remove the friction.
So KM 2.0 is really about harnessing that energy,
Yep.
right? That social participatory impulse.
That's the core of it. You use these social tools to shift people from being passive readers to active contributors. The focus moves away from just, storing official reports and more towards shared methods. It's a living system, not a dead library.
There was some great research from MIT Sloan on this, that in this world of just constant high-volume input, all the Slack messages, the emails, the quick notes, you need a process that's specifically designed to filter that raw input into something reliable, into actual organizational memory.
It's not about trying to stop the flow of information. It's about having a smart way to refine it into something that lasts.
But to build this new system, you have to avoid the old traps. We've all seen those orphaned repositories where nobody knows who owns it.
Or the mismatched taxonomies, where marketing calls something a campaign and sales calls it an initiative, so you can never search across both.
And the worst one of all, too many places to search, which at the end of the day means you have no way to find anything at all.
Okay, so let's talk about the toolkit, because KM 2.0 isn't about throwing everything out and starting over. It's really about blending.
You mean blending those familiar social apps with the more heavy-duty enterprise systems?
Exactly. It's what some people call Enterprise 2.0. You're using wikis, blogs, short videos, maybe even podcasts to preserve context. Things like quick how-to posts or little multimedia notes that explain the why behind a decision.
So you're basically taking the user experience from the consumer social apps we all use every day, where publishing is like 2 clicks,
Right.
and bringing that same low-friction experience behind the corporate firewall, but securely.
That's it. You're adopting the UX of Web 2.0.
Right.
But that leads to the really big challenge, which is how do you combine the unstructured stuff, the chat, the comments, with your structured records, your formal data?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Doesn't that just lead to total chaos? How do you manage the signal-to-noise ratio when you're mixing a casual chat with, say, a formal project plan?
That is the key question, and the answer is through lightweight workflows, and they're actually simpler than they sound.
Okay.
We're not talking about some rigid four-stage approval process. We're talking about using simple things like tags or templates to link a casual conversation about a customer request directly to the record in your CRM.
Ah, so you're creating a simple path.
Yeah.
A bridge from the fleeting thought to the permanent asset.
Exactly. You're turning a temporary idea into something findable and actionable.
I get it. But even with those workflows, you still have the problem of tool sprawl. If every team picks its own favorite wiki, its own chat app, you're right back in silo hell.
You are. And that's where governance and, more importantly, a consolidation strategy become absolutely crucial.
The source material had a really clear take on this.
It did. The 80-20 rule, it's so pragmatic. You have to pick one primary platform, whether it's SharePoint, Confluence, whatever, that covers about 80% of your daily work.
And what about the other 20%?
That's for the niche tools, the specialized software for engineering or design that you just can't live without. But by consolidating the main platform, you stop the shadow IT problem. And, crucially, you give people one primary place to search. Findability goes way up.
And the governance rules for that platform can't be too heavy-handed either, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, people just won't use it.
Oh, absolutely. They have to be simple and pragmatic. You need to define clear roles like content stewards, who takes care of this space after the original creator leaves. You need simple retention standards. When do we archive this? And you have to use a lightweight taxonomy.
Let's pause on that. What do you mean by lightweight taxonomy? How is that different from the old way?
Well, in KLM 1.0, IT would hand down this huge, complex folder structure from on high. Lightweight taxonomy is the opposite. It's the simple tags and categories that the users create themselves.
The words they actually use to find things.
Exactly. It reflects how people really work, so it makes search much, much better.
Okay, and this all comes back to tool selection. The source material mentioned SharePoint, for instance.
Yeah, and SharePoint is great when you need that deep Office integration, really robust compliance features, things like that. For a lot of large enterprises, it's a solid choice for that 80% backbone. But if your main goal is super fast publishing and social interaction, that lightweight feel. Alternatives like Confluence or other specialized platforms often have a much better user experience for that kind of collaborative work. The tool has to serve the workflow, not the other way around. So we've talked about tools and process, but none of it matters if people don't actually use it. And this is where the culture part of KM 2.0 is. I mean, it's everything.
And the source material is so clear on this. It has to be a carrot over stick approach.
Yeah.
The entire system has to be designed for participation.
With the least amount of friction possible.
Right.
That means focusing on really simple contribution paths. We're talking short templates, one-click edit buttons, clear labels. You have to make small contributions the default, like creating a quick wiki stub or adding a comment to a ticket that explains a decision. If it takes more than 60 seconds, people just won't do it.
And the incentives have to be there to make it stick. You have to reward people for sharing.
And it has to be visible. Peer recognition, shout-outs in team meetings, maybe a leaderboard that tracks helpful answers. And most importantly, you have to tie that contribution back to performance reviews. If someone's knowledge sharing is saving the company time and money, they deserve to be recognized for it, explicitly.
The dream here is to get to a point where knowledge capture isn't a separate task at all. It's just embedded in how you work.
That's the holy grail. For example, setting up automation to auto-tag decisions from your meeting notes or linking a new wiki page directly from your project management tool. It just becomes part of the routine of getting work done.
Okay, now for the person who has to go sell this idea internally, they need proof. They need numbers. And the source material laid out 4 really critical metrics for measuring the ROI here.
Yes. And these are so important because this is the language that executives understand. The first 2 are about engagement. Number 1, adoption. Simply, how many active contributors do you have each month? Are people actually sharing?
Number 2, findability. What's your search success rate? Can people find what they need on the first try? If they're searching 3 or 4 times, something's broken.
Then the third one targets efficiency. Time to knowledge. What's the average time it takes for an employee to find an answer? Because every minute spent searching is a minute of lost productivity.
And the 4th is the big one, the bottom line.
ROI. And it's defined very specifically as hours saved per workflow. This is the crucial one, because you can translate that directly into dollars. Saving an engineer 10 minutes a day, that adds up to a massive cost saving over a year. That's the number that gets you the investment.
Before we wrap this section up, there's one more piece that's just non-negotiable, especially for remote teams: security and continuity.
Oh, absolutely. When knowledge is this fluid, you need guardrails. Strong ones.
So, practical steps.
It's about the basics, really. Strong role-based access. Not everyone needs to see everything. Standardized retention schedules to stop things from getting stale. And, maybe most importantly, a clear owner for every single space. That way, the system stays clean and secure over time. So we pull all of this together. I think the core lesson here, the real philosophical shift of KM 2.0, is moving from this idea of scattered files in a static repository to a living, intelligent system.
Yeah, a system where knowledge is constantly being created, but also refined and reused as part of the normal flow of work.
And for any organization trying to do this, small, steady practices like clear ownership, a simple taxonomy, those will always win. They'll always beat some massive, over-engineered system that's too complicated for anyone to actually adopt.
So for you listening right now, what's the first step? How do you make this real? The source material gives a really clear, immediate challenge.
It does.
Take one step this week, just one. Define your core knowledge spaces, the 2 or 3 places where 80% of your work actually lives. Set some really lightweight governance for just those spaces, and then pilot a short playbook with a single willing team. That's it. You can make your organization's memory more resilient, like tomorrow.
And as you start thinking about that, here's a final thought to mull over. KM 2.0 is all about balancing the structured data, your reports, your dashboards, the numbers, with the unstructured content, the annotated notes, the recorded conversations, the expert context. So the question for you is, what hybrid approach will you build to give your team both the numbers and the story they need to actually make smart decisions?
That is a deep dive worth thinking about. Thank you so much for tuning into the SmartKeys podcast and for taking this journey into Knowledge Management 2.0 with us.
And if you want to get deeper into the tactics we talked about today, from setting up that lightweight governance to actually calculating the hours saved ROI, the full article is called Knowledge Management 2.0, Future-Proofing Organizational Memory in Remote Teams. And we've put a link right in the show notes for you.
And if you enjoyed these kinds of strategic insights into the future of work, please make sure you hit that subscribe button for the SmartKeys podcast. We will be back very soon with another deep dive.